Alright, what is up boys and girls? Barry here. So today we're gonna be watching the anime equivalent of Pokemon. It was so wild, so crazy, that I simply just couldn't turn off this train wreck. Beast Tamer, more like bitch Tamer, am I right? But jokes aside, this is the type of show that will have you question the current state of the bottom tier animes. Like, the plot of the show is a general harem plot of man gets abandoned by his friends and then meets a gorgeous set of diverse cast girls that love him for him. Aww. And you're like, well, what's the problem? It's the way the girls join his party. The entire first episode, I was just questioning what the fuck was happening. And if you want to see that live reaction, you can go check it out. There's a playlist. They were going so far over my tiny man brain that I just simply couldn't comprehend the 4D chess they were playing. But yeah, let's set a like goal for 100 likes and let's go. Episode 1. So it starts out with our male protagonist, Rein, opening the door to a meeting with his party members who look pissed and downright disgusted by his presence. Arios is the hero, and he outright just fires Rein for the party. You see, Rein is a beast tamer who tends to stay in the back, and he works as support in the party. We quickly learn that the hero's party is the biggest band of assholes around. First, we have this bald bastard, who didn't seem that bad at first, but you learn that he's a suck-up who only values the glories that come with being in the hero's party, with him not feeling the need to respect anyone he believes is below him. Next is the quiet, emotionless priest girl, Mina, who's the type of person who spouts on about how much God is always right and how much they love God in the church, whatever, to the point she's blindly following whatever figure the church values, treating this figure like a god, which is the hero, always deeming that he is correct, not to mention being perfectly fine with leaving someone to die without a second thought, as well as stealing, lying, killing innocent people who are unarmed, but still acting holier than the person she's bad-mouthing. Also is the biggest meat rider for Arios. Following that is Lene, which is Mina, but worst. This purple-haired ass bitch, and yes, I said she's a bitch. I can't stand this short-ass, flat-chested, entitled, sadistic, manipulative, egotistical, aggressively loud mouth, disrespectful, condescending, hot breath having, suck up, dumbass phony magician, biggest hypocrite you'll ever find ass bitch. The last time I felt this way about a character was Shield Hero's Multi, or bitch how it's pronounced in the manga. Look it up. Rein wants an explanation as to why he's being let go, which is very understandable. And the rest of the party members just proceed to talk how they really feel about him, with them being mad that he's always in the back not fighting, but still getting part of the reward. When I first heard this, I was like, that's kind of valid. I mean, if you're not putting in, you don't deserve to get anything. But he's a beast tamer. The entire point of his class is meant to be support. He's supposed to just simply direct you to the place you want to go. But on top of that, he carries their supplies. So combine Nami from One Piece and Lily from Danmachi and you get Rein. But to add on even top of that, he can control like 20 or like an army of animals. And at the same time, he has martial arts training to provide a defense for these stupid ass magic casters. Unknown to them, normal beast tamers can't control more than one monster or animal, nor do they have any type of hand-to-hand combat skills. But these dumb fucks don't bother reading any of the other capabilities of other roles, which honestly, when you think about the anime, becomes a very much constant thing of people just don't read or try to learn about other people's roles. They've been talking down to him for like 6 months, and even here in this present, they're doing it for like a couple minutes straight. And he realized that he wasn't receiving criticism, but literal like hate. Arios lastly tells him to pack all his shit up and leave his gear here. And Rein was about to raise his hand and finally speak up for himself and finally maybe fight back, but Arios just tells him he better not get any funny ideas to not have them lose any more respect for him. So he just leaves. Me personally. Eventually some kids come to cheer him up, which I guess in Japan is like a common occurrence. In America, they would roast him with no warning. And don't let them find out that you lost your job, nigga. Cause you're gonna end up going to jail. You're gonna wind up having to kick one of them kids straight to the moon and the cops gonna be on your ass. That's a fact. So at the guild, we meet Natalie. And oh my God, Natalie. I want to add her to the party right now. I'm not even playing. So she gives him like a basic isekai adventures guide or whatever. You know, all the shit we already know. What threw me off is she called him Ernest as if he was special for wanting to learn the basic of his freaking new job, acting as if no one else knows this information. I would hope they would know the literal way you sign up for a job. Have you just been giving out people who say they're adventurers money for like free? Like what is this? Literally, this anime is trying to call me special for learning the generic anime template. Am I special for reading? Is she like sucking up to me? Or is everyone in this freaking world illiterate? Once she learns that he's a beast tamer, she obviously thinks that he might not be able to do this, with this triggering his PTSD of Lene calling him useless. But he accepts it, and he's able to finish his first job pretty easily, wanting to get strong with his own hands. He hears some screaming, so being the fedora-wearing white knight he is, runs off to help. Seeing a girl in trouble, being attacked by a killer tiger, what a lazy name. And instead of taming it, you know, the title of the anime, he runs in with a knife, which literally makes me question exactly what can he tame. So you can tame squirrels, horses, eagles, and wolves, but you can't seem to tame a tiger and a goblin? And I know what you might be thinking, well, he can only tame animals. Well, obviously. And you see, that's what I thought, but later he tames a freaking Arby and a behemoth, a horned rabbit, which is obviously not in the real world, or animals. And don't even get me started about the beast girls and fairies that are basically human girls. And spoilers is the entire point of the freaking anime. He has to tame WOMՒNN. And let's not even act like saying that sentence out loud even sounds normal. Like, how the fuck is this possible? Like, are they like people or are they not people? Like, when he goes back to the guild, they're waiting outside, almost like a pet. Ario literally refers to them as a pet, and later the desk girl gets mad that he tamed a cat girl, and then the cat girl outright refers to herself being tamed. Can he like tame people? I have to even ask that question. So after he fails, the cat girl wakes up and then one hit kills the tiger, and then he feeds her, making her introduce herself as Kanade, being a cat spirit. Cat spirits are an endangered species, but are also known as being part of the ultimate species. They can't use magic, but are physically stronger than all others. Yes, cat girls are the ultimate species. Furries rejoice, you were right all along. After some talking, he's willing to openly reveal he was kicked out of the hero's party, with the subject still being rather sore for him. She's mad at the hero and compliments his ability as a tamer and thinks that he's very nice, mentioning that he could tame her, then outright demands that he tame her. So she rescues herself and he feeds her, and that gives him a claim to tame you. Oh my god, cat girls are literal Pokemon. He does an inner monologue about him wanting to spend more time with Kanade and get to know her better, but instead of asking her out on a date or asking her to form a party with him, he tames her. Why? Cause Japan, that's why. Episode 2. At the guild, the two of them are talking until they're getting interrupted by this old guy with a scar as long as 2 baby carrots on his face, with him catcalling Kanade. This of it is the equivalent on being on a date and some stranger tries to go up and talk to your significant other. And if you hate cat puns, oh, you're in for a treat, because these two try to one-up each other for about 2 minutes straight on who can come up with the most cat puns. So this anime's version of Yami with hot breath won't take no for an answer, forcing Kanade to outright yell at him, saying she's already been tamed by Rein. Does she think like taming is the same thing as dating? Obviously, hearing this out loud makes all the bystanders want to come check out to see what's going on here. You know, see how it plays out. The man outright challenges him to an arm wrestling competition for Kanade. Wow, it's the end of 2022 and we're still treating women like property. On a side note, the man has an inner monologue himself on how he did not expect this day to turn out like this. I don't think any of us saw our Friday evening turning into this either. Rein shockingly wins, making Kanade mention how, because he tamed her, he now has just as much strength as she does. Rein, you're a tamer and you don't know the basics about being a tamer. After some harassment, Natalie bashes this man's face in with a table, scaring the two of them and everyone watching, since she lets out her inner feelings, being mad that he tamed a cat girl, with this meaning that he's taken. We fast forward to see them trying to save this old man from some bandits, that being the Ebon Fangs, a notorious evil organization. As they fight, Kanade finds Rein to be more attractive after seeing him beat another man's ass. Is this like some type of primal attraction? The man thanks him and then mentions that he did hire some adventurers to protect him, but they left him here with the bandits, and also took all his money, with it sounding that he got robbed. Come to find out that it's nekomimi. The two of them start to blame the beast tamer they hired. So you kicked Rein and replaced him. If you thought beast tamers were trash, why did you go and hire another one? Then they try to talk to him the same way they did to Rein, and this guy was not having it. He flat out just tells them they're dumb, saying they don't even know the basics of his role before hiring him. Not to mention, he has to explain to them he can only control one animal at a time, and if he basically breaks this rule, he could overload his nervous system and die, pointing out whatever tamer they previously had was a literal god. Lene calls him a liar, and in her pride cannot accept that Rein was exceptional, with her also willing to murder him, saying he better take full responsibility for this failure. Meanwhile, Rein tracks down the hideout of the Ebon Fangs, and he summons a literal army of Arby's that poison like 100 bandits. Then some king lizard breaks out of its cage. Then this dumbass starts gloating like, yeah, look, we trained these lizard kings, now they're gonna beat your ass. So of course he's the first nigga to die. And then Kanade and Rein save the day. Episode 3. The two of them check into an inn, and they have to share a room, which is a running gag where the old lady is trying to get him laid. The next day, Natalie is hella pushy, wanting Rein to take on this bridge mission. When they get there, they learn why the adventurers didn't give them any information about this mission. It's because all of them were embarrassed they got their ass beat by this girl. This is Tanya, and anyone in anime who's named Tanya is going to be good. It says it right here in Bible Black Gaiden, chapter 25 of Fantasy Animes. Thy Tanya must be bad. And you know the holy book has never failed us, boys. So they get to fighting, and Kanade cannot beat her in a fist fight. This fight scene, no lie, was the peak of the show for me. This is the peak. It does not get higher than this. It was a quality fight scene for a harem show. The thing is, Tanya's like Captain America and is just like, I can do this all day. So Rein just joins in and they proceed to jump her. And this show must have some type of power scaling to that of Dragon Ball, cause she's effectively 1v2ing them. Not to mention, she can use flamethrower. Yes, it's Pokemon. Still, Rein and Kanade are so much in sync they can just do this in midair. At this point, Rein has had enough of this and he's just like, I'm a poisoner. Why? Because he likes poisoning people. He has a thing for poison. This is a running gag on the show. After they defeat her, they explain to the guild what exactly happened without mentioning that Tanya's the one that caused it, so she doesn't go to jail. On their way there, she's still trying to fight people. She's a freaking menace. I love her. So she ends up offering her services to join the party, offering to form a contract. See, I knew you could make this sound normal, unlike this one over here. In the alleyway, the heroes party is beyond pissed since they can't finish the Lost Woods mission without Rein, with them having to fight monsters, navigate the area, and not to mention have to carry all their equipment. Oh no! So Arios decides he's gonna go back and get Rein into the party, to then abandon him later on. Okay, so where do I even begin with this group? So you're telling me you treat him like less than a person, don't give him adequate money he's earned, openly mock him, fire him, but you still can't finish your mission without him because you're incompetent as fuck. And then you think you can still get him to join your party and then toss him out when you're done? Oh my, you're a lost cause. This group is a lost cause. I know it. I knew they were. The next day, Rein transfers his consciousness into a bird. Why? So he could just rest on Tanya's chest. Same, honestly. Rein learns that he gained some type of enhanced magical ability because of Tanya. That night, Rein's wallet learns the dangers of acquiring beast girls, and he begins to tell them his dark anime past, about how he was just a simple boy with loving parents who came from a special village of beast tamers and insect tamers, and he trained every day. But then one day after training all day, he's discovered that his village has been massacred, with him being the last survivor in a blaze of fire, the last of his clan, Sasuke Uchiha. I couldn't, sorry, I just had to. Which for a lot of girls would have been a major turnoff and something you shouldn't do on the second date, but Tanya starts to catch feelings, which leads to him encountering his old party members. Episode 5. This was the most anticipated episode of the anime. This could have been the best episode actually, about sticking it to your old party members, but it was a stinky ball of disappointment, and let me explain. Rein doesn't want to deal with them, and he simply starts to walk away, but Arias begins to just mentally do his mind games by saying maybe he should be more gentler with them and ask for him to come back crawling to their party. But as he's doing this, he quickly notices that his companions are ultimate species, thinking that their old talentless companion works for them now, with the two girls clarifying it's the opposite. Rein wants him to simply get to the point, so he gets right to the point explaining that his team can't properly navigate the Lost Woods without him, with it simply being a maze that holds monsters and would just be very annoying to deal with, so he asks for Rein to come back. Obviously, Rein can't believe he has the gall to simply ask for him to come back working for them after what they did to him. And the members start to begin talking down to him again, as if he should be grateful to serve them. Rein somewhat sticks up for himself and just leaves, making Kanade and Tanya glad that he gained some type of self-respect or self-pride. I guess Mina comes in and saves the day, and she's able to sway his judgment, saying that Arios is the hero, with him needing to do God's work, needing the Shield of Truth, I know, another boring name, but still needing it to defeat the Demon Lord, cause isekai logic. Is hitting a core with him because his family and everything that he loved or cared about being destroyed because of monsters attacking his village. So in a way, he's like, if I help this, I could save another family from going through this tragedy. And he decides to come back and join them. But Arios isn't just gonna simply let him come back into the party. He's still somewhat downplaying him and insulting him right then and after. And Kanade and Tanya step in and they're like, we can't accept this. They're like, we don't like the decision our master made, but we'll go along with it. But first, you're gonna need to get down on your freaking knees and apologize. And I was sitting in my chair like, I don't exactly like the line, but I do like when you stand up for your friend. That shit is hits. That shit will always slap. Like this especially. That was a good line. That was good. I did like one of those inside like golf claps, like, all right, good shit, good shit. Arios and the rest of the party simply can't fathom the idea of having to apologize to Rein, and he demands that he makes his pets show him some fucking respect. Oh, you called them pets. You shouldn't have done that. And he punches the shit out of them. And yeah, they get to fighting, and it's an all-out 1v1, 1v2, and 1v1 match. Arios having good swordsmanship, magic, but still being fucking weak to poison, and punches to the face. He didn't learn how to dodge. And overall, I didn't like it because for what has been going on, there should have been more of a punishment, more blood, more of a gruesome battle. Like, I hate that Lene, Mina, and Arios got off so lightly, and the freaking ball guy who did the least amount of, I guess you could say, negative behavior or bad behavior was the only one to get a real punishment. He got knocked out. The rest of them, nothing. Like, where's the justice in that? I did also find it funny how literally Tanya is 1v2ing these freaking bums and she negates all of their literal spells. Like literally Tanya solos so many people in this anime because she can negate basically any spell and she's physically stronger than everybody else. That's why I freaking love this character. This character's actually able to fucking fight. Like she's in the wrong anime. They're thoroughly beaten and they apologize, but they still patronize them as if nothing happened. Episode 6. And the two Beast girls get rewarded with head pats. We all love head pats. So the hero's party provides them with a map, which literally proves to be useless, as it doesn't point them anywhere. He's able to find a path, but the group somehow is able to find themselves lost again. So Tanya comes in clutch, using her material search magic, finding that this tree is emitting some type of illusion magic or whatever. They're literally coming up with shit out their ass, I swear. And out of the tree spawns a fairy lolly, or a lolly fairy, and the group is shocked, and they thought they would be extinct from the 100-year war. The fairy part, not the lolly timeline. Like imagine for a second, humans had a 100-year lolly war. The fairy forces them to leave, but then Rein goes back seeing that something was troubling her, and he wants to try and reason with her. I'm not necessarily surprised by the analogy that he uses, right? He's like treating the encounterment to the equivalent of reasoning with a wild wolf that he tamed. The lolly's name is Sora, and she hands them the Shield of Truth, with the fairies protecting it for years because of the previous hero, with her explaining that she's the one that guards the village from would-be invaders, being the one that put up the barrier. But recently her conviction has been wavering, because while she was playing with her sister outside the village, a scary-looking Dark Knight abducted her sister and threatened that she better lower the barrier so that he can go slaughter the rest of the people inside, but promising she could have her sister. Sora went back to the village to ask the elder what she should do, and the elder was just like, forget about your sister, like she's dead. And then he blames them for saying, you should be rejoicing, you should be happy your sister's dead because now you save everybody else and and if anything, like you guys broke the rules, so like, for going outside, so you should just like take responsibility for your actions. Hearing this fucked up story, Rein decides, yeah, he's gonna help. Episode 9. The group finds the knight who's been patiently waiting here in the forest for the past few days for the girl to come back, but instead is greeted with this party trying to kill him. The knight is defeated rather quickly, and apparently the reason why this ultimate species fairy wasn't able to beat this knight was because it was at a huge type advantage. Yes, this is literally fucking Pokemon. It has type advantage. The Shadow Knight negates all magic, and the only attack a fairy can do is magic. So it's the biggest type advantage ever, and they're able to save her, adding an extra lolly to the party, just in case one wasn't good enough. And here's the part that kind of had me fucked, is like, basically now that these two are gone, all their people are going to die because no one's going to be able to put up the freaking barrier. I mean, yeah, they left her to kind of die, so they should deal with this consequence of, hey, maybe the person is just going to go and say, F you guys, if my sister dies, you guys die, type of behavior. But yeah, like, to be honest, I'm kind of against them both joining the party, but like I'm more okay with Runa joining the party being the second one because she makes things funnier with her having mischievous jokes the entirety of the anime, having this actual sense of humor. Rein goes back to the hero to return the shield, leaving but not before the hero doubts his skills about if this is the real shield. On the way out, the bald man bluntly says, why doesn't Rein come back to the party? With him not caring about Arya's decision, speaking for everyone in the group basically, stating how this event shows how much they need his help, and the rest of them simply admit that, yeah, they really do need him. But what pisses off Rein is like he tries to act as if Rein is overplaying how he was treated, and he should just come back as if nothing happened. Obviously, Rein is pissed off by this, and he refuses. And then we actually get an explanation as to why Arios is the hero, which this question was killing me for the entirety of the anime, so I do like that they did answer this. Basically, the hero has a bit of God's blood. It has some type of skill limit breaker, with the hero literally being a Saiyan, having no limits. But Runa points out by that logic, Rein is in fact a part of that same hero class, saying he's able to make contracts with any animal, almost an unlimited amount of animals, can tame beast girls, and saying that if he contracted more ultimate species, he could be the one to defeat the Demon Lord, with the rest of the group being pretty pumped that they would be the ones defeating the Demon Lord rather than that hero. Episode 8. The lollies make dirty jokes. Rein goes into a weapon shop and of course, a dwarf is the owner. Another racist assumption, I know, but it's true. The plot of this one is like, the man is selling his half-hearted weapons overly priced because to the untrained novice, they can't tell the difference. Not wanting someone to throw away his weapon for whatever new blade came out, with him explaining that he puts his heart and soul into this craft, with him deciding to give Rein one of his one-of-a-kind special works because he's able to notice this freaking fraud, but saying that he needs the materials that can only be found in his privately owned mine, that surprise surprise has a problem because someone or something keeps taking them. So Rein goes back to the guild to have Natalie set up the mission, and Natalie spots the fairies and immediately thinks the worst of Rein. Finally, an appropriate response. But of course, we gotta follow that up with the beach episode, which of course devolves into Rein going back to get a sneak peek of the girls, but they don't care. At the mines, Tanya makes quick work of the guards, with them running right into her fist. The fairy reads their minds and they find that the adventurers have been stealing these ores, and Rein thanks them for this information. Runa raises her hand, asking if they can get this thing called a head pat, with this making for a lot of quotable lines like, "That feels great. It fills me with delight for some reason. My heart is soaring." And then the anime teases that the opponent that they'll be facing is a beast tamer. Oh, scary beast tamer. Even though beast tamers are literally nothing more than support, basically like 90% of the class. Episode 9. Inside, the team quickly takes out the adventurers, only to have trouble with the beast tamer, who's like an A-ranked adventurer who's able to tame a behemoth. Rein hasn't even done this, even though he literally can. The beast tamer is willing to kill all of them for finding out their secret, and the tamer basically raised this monster like when it was a baby to make it easier to tame. So he literally treated this like a Pokemon daycare, and then this is actually like a Pokemon match. Rein overrides his tamer contract, controlling Behemoth. Like, I wish I could take my opponent's Pokemon too. Rein kills it and they win. So the reason why the adventurers did this in the first place wasn't because they were trying to sell it off, which, I don't know, that would have been pretty profitable, I'm not gonna lie to you. They did it to ruin the dwarves' business, which is pretty petty. With this being because other adventurers pointed out that they bought overly priced, half-hearted, defected weapons, which makes their move a bit over the top, with them willing to steal and basically do a murder for being scammed. Especially when their weapons that they have don't really look very natural to what their actual combat is. So he goes back to the Adventurers Guild here from Natalie to exactly what their punishment was, and he gets like super sad to hear their punishment was like getting their adventurer's license revoked and then being sent off to like a labor camp. With him being super down that they got such a harsh punishment. I'm like, bro, yeah, they literally were willing to do theft and freaking murder. That more or less sounds pretty right. Like, especially when you think about it, literally, you knew to lie to Natalie about what really happened with Tanya because you knew some freaking harsh punishment was going to be happening to Tanya. So you can't be surprised that these guys who were going to do something way worse were not going to get a harsher punishment, basically. Meanwhile, Arios is disappointed by his recent tamer, with him outwardly comparing the man to like Rein in the third person. Mina notes that he's doing this too much, with Arios turning his wrath onto her now. Meanwhile, the Lolly twins realize that they're useless in the party, with them hoping that they gave him some type of advanced super skill that only they can give him since they're fairies, but they're useless. As they're walking, another twisted boss appears, and I'm gonna let my past self talk about this one. Episode 10. So this guy goes into town, basically, kidnap women and children, and because he's the Lord, the law can't touch him, which is historically accurate, with him demanding that he hand over the girls. Where have I heard this line before? Once Rein refuses Geppetto's demands, Geppetto then literally has the knights hold the citizens hostage, willing to kill everyone. Using the skill that he inherently learned from the fairies, somehow he's able to simultaneously cast fire spells, with him calling it exclusive to their race, which isn't because Tanya literally did the same spell a couple episodes ago. When they try to make a report to the cops, this being the knights, he's met with some other knights that have reminded him that false reporting can lead to executions, with Geppetto paying off the captain of the guard, and others erasing all evidence of his crimes and silencing the victims. And he likes to beat kids, because he was like stomping this kid like viciously. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, the sound work on this anime was actually A1 for that. In all honesty, she should have been like bloody, black-eyed, on life support if you heard the same sounds I did. Like, call Child Protective Services, cause we need a freaking medic. Luckily, there's still one valiant knight left in the knights, and the two of them work together to defeat the captain of the guards, with the girl having a good flashback scene about the captain once being a valiant knight, being the person that gave her her moral compass, with Arios saving Geppetto at the last minute, with him giving him an ominous ring, proving that the hero's evil. The group goes to go rescue the girls, with the other beast girls taking notice of the added third lolly that he's added to the party, Beast Tamer, more like Lolly Tamer, am I right? With him admittedly not playing dumb to this. Wow, phrasing. Just for that, I'm deducting points from their final score. Like, this is a little much. I will say this anime actually did answer my question as to what extent did the weak-ass father play a part in all of this? Was he like the oblivious nepotism father? Or was he like super aware of his son's actions and not being remorseful? Which that was the case. Also, Rein should have died here because this ring is literally a super OP one-shot Grim Reaper ring, but somehow he gained the power of nullification of a status effect, which means the fairies have that power, which makes literally no fucking sense, because if that was the case, then the freaking Dark Knight wouldn't be a problem. Like, the anime's logic is so freaking all over the fucking place. Some of you might be asking, like, why are you freaking harping so much about freaking the rules of the anime? It's because they're the ones that set it up, and if they're not following their own rules, I'm not gonna take any of this serious. Okay, so then the Geppetto guy, instead of having to actually face the proper punishment for his crimes, just like in Japan's actual legal system, look it up, he turns into some like big bad demon monster who looks like the one that slaughtered Rein's entire family and everyone that he loved, triggering his PTSD and trauma. Which, with the manga surprisingly being like 65 plus chapters long for 13 episodes. God damn. It's a lot of chapters. To be honest, this anime is just like literally like just too much all over the place to give like our actual good scoring. It's like a 2 out of 5, and off of other things it could just be lower than a 1.5, honestly. This could literally be one of my first animes I put at like 1.5, or like, yeah, I don't know, whichever one I feel like at the time. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Also, what the fuck is this effect right here? Like, honestly, this literally looks like a on the top effect on the anime. This doesn't even look like it's freaking around his body, and it doesn't even look like it hurts him. Plus, he's so freaking stiff in this shot. It is insane.